When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. Oh, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by.
Buy this car to drive to work to pay for this car. Buy this car to drive to work to work.
Welcome to the Yellow Brick Road. I am Jordan, and today we're going to react to a video where it looks like Hasan Piker got in some trouble, possibly. And it's going to be a video from BadEmpanada. But first, do not forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links you see in the description box. Check them out, read them, share them, then donate. All of it is very much appreciated. Also, check out the Discord link if you want to join up. Do it! No dick pics, Jesse told me I was like begging for dick pics to start showing up because I keep telling people not to do dick pics. I don't know. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Either way, all links in the description box. Alright, so here we have BadEmpanada. I don't really know him too well. I think I've seen like one other video of his. And I think he was being critical of Hasan Piker in that video as well. Because I believe guys like this think Hasan does not go far enough, or maybe he goes far enough, but he allows people around him to have kind of a weak stance in regards to Israel, Gaza, Israel, West Bank, Israel, Palestine in general, right? So I believe this video should be about Hasan Piker and him talking to Duss, a former, I mean, he's like a, foreign policy guy. I remember him being a foreign policy advisor for Bernie Sanders back in the day. Because I remember people were saying, like, oh, okay, you think, everyone's dick riding Tulsi's foreign policy, but Bernie's is just as good. So I'm like, all right, let me look into this Duss guy. And Tulsi sucks, and she was lying the whole time. But, Duss was not looking too good either. I'm sure he looked good next to, like, George W. Bush or, or Donald Trump. Or maybe even Barack Obama, maybe. But not that much better. And when you fuck up certain things in foreign policy, when it comes to me, there is no room for you anymore. Because you're going to harm people around the world. That's why, I am unforgiving about that. People are like, hey, Jordan, why don't you vote for this person? Lesser evil. I'm like, well, I truly believe that if that person was president, they would blow children up. They would blow grandmas up, grandpas, moms and dads, all different types of innocent people. Thus, I can't budge on that one. I will never, ever, ever be in support of that. Ever. And I understand lesser evil voting does not mean you guaranteed doesn't mean you're like supporting. But they get no room for me. No room. And it's not a hard principle to hold up either. Like, hey, when you get in office, are you going to kill kids? Are you going to kill innocent people? Are you going to do that? The answer has to be no. It has to be no. Otherwise, I can't support you. Maybe you don't believe that. That's what I believe. But either way, let's move on here. Let's get to the video. I just wanted to say some background stuff of where I'm coming from. Because I'm sure between Hasan Piker, Duss, and BadEmpanada, I'll possibly be able to chime in with some opinions and also and some questions and also maybe learn some stuff. Right? because these guys are a little bit more seasoned on this stuff than the typical people I react to. Let's just be honest. So hopefully I can learn some stuff here. Hopefully, hopefully if, Hasan Piker hears Matt Duss saying some fucking, like some of his, like his Syria takes, his Ukraine takes, Hamas must be defeated takes, anything like that. Hopefully Hasan does some legitimate pushback, but we're about to find out. According to probably according to BadEmpanada, Hasan's going to do a horrible job. So, all right, here we go. Here's the video. Hasan platform Zionist genocide propagandist who looks like Vosh. I wonder if he's into horse porn too. Anyways, here we go.
So Hasan Piker invited liberal Zionist propagandist Matt Duss onto his stream for a nice chat. Why Bernie's foreign policy advisor broke with DC Democrats. He even uploaded it to his channel. He never uploaded his talk with me to his channel. So this guy is Bernie's foreign policy advisor, or ever was Bernie's foreign policy advisor. Should probably ring alarm bells as to what Bernie Sanders always has been for anyone who hasn't noticed that yet. But let's look at some of Matt Duss's openly extolled stances. Matt Duss.
Yeah. You should be a little bit worried, considering some of Bernie's takes. And yeah, if you're a Bernie person, you should be looking in on that. I mean, supporting kill lists, Iron Dome support, Ukraine support. What was it? The fucking Jesus Christ in Syria, the Kurds, and Assad has used chemical weapons. His stances on Assange, which I would put in the category of both freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and also foreign policy, because the big exposures of WikiLeaks that I'm care about, or a lot of them are foreign policy stuff, collateral murder and shit like that. So, like, sorry, Bernie fans, you got to be honest with yourself. But all right, here we go.
In 2016, said that he endorses a piece that said that the anti-Israel left is pure anti-Semitism. He actually wrote a piece December 14th, 2023, while the genocide was ongoing. I remind you, at this time, I already made my video making the legal case against Israel for genocide in Gaza, saying that Israel's methods are not as extreme as Russia's, and it's very important to acknowledge that. At that point, Israel had already killed more civilians in Gaza than Russia had killed in Ukraine during the entire war. He called Palestinian resistance a far-right theocratic organization committing mass murder in the name of blood and soil nationalism. That is how this guy characterizes Palestinian resistance. And he spread the mass rape hoax. In December...
Where goes over the mass rape hoax, but in the name of blood and soil, national, like, that almost sounds like he's trying to, like, paint it as, like, Nazism or something. Like, that's a weird way to, like, isn't that like like one of their sayings or statements? Blood and soil? Okay. All right, here we go.
This guy characterizes Palestinian resistance. And he spread the mass rape hoax. In December 2023, he said, denying the rape and sexual violence that Hamas committed on October 7th is disgusting. And then, he did a token thing. So he's using that to excuse the humanitarian catastrophe Israel is intentionally inflicting on the Palestinians. This is pure liberal Zionist bullshit. This is the Ethan Klein stance. Then he said, in May 2024, well after the mass rape hoax was fully debunked, so no excuse anymore. There was never an excuse in the first place for believing it, given that there was no evidence, but now there's certainly no excuse. Very much worth noting that the ICC includes rape and other acts of sexual violence in the list of Hamas offenses. It's very clear that these things happen, and it's ridiculous that some continue to deny it. Very confident there, isn't he? May 2024, this guy was saying this shit. There could be, like, a world in which you invite this guy on, but you invite him on to destroy him. You invite him on to challenge him on this stuff. Not nicely either. To really grill the fuck out of him and ruin him forever. So that's what you should...
Fair enough, but I just want to make sure, because I didn't put it up here, but... Because a lot of this he's getting from the fucking squirrels, I don't know if he's getting it from there, but it's mirrored, at least, somewhat, in the squirrels... Twitter post. And one thing, I don't even know BadEmpanada, the squirrel guy. I don't really know him either, but so you can see here, one of the tweet things. I'll link this because this guy also goes in on Hasan. So I'll link all of this, including there's some video feed here, and then when you go through the threads, you'll find even more stuff. So I'll leave that in the description box. Let's continue. Here we go.
Should do with people like this. You invite him on. Your first question is, so you claim that Hamas did mass rape on October 7th. So why have you never provided any evidence of that, even though you've consistently spread this genocide-enabling blood libel from the very beginning? Hey, why don't you say that Palestinian liberation is blood and soil nationalism? You pin them on this live and you get them stuttering. You debunk their entire narrative. That's the utility that these guys have. They are tools to be used. You destroy them, you upload the video of it, and then you just fucking forget about them. That's not what Hasan did here. He gave him a softball interview and promoted him. It's important to note that people like this, he's trying to break into alternative media because someone like this is no longer of much use to the Washington DC, sort of think tank industrial complex and political advisor complex that he has mostly been involved in for his entire adult life. But this guy, you kind of have to consider that he's in this sort of in-between thing where he was like a Bernie Sanders advisor. So he's going to be too progressive for the mainstream Democrats, but he's also too pro-Israel for anyone who's like someone posturing, someone who's on the cusp of being consumed by the Democratic Party, entrism complex. There's not really much of a home for someone like him. He's not needed by the mainstream Democrats. He's not even needed by people like Bernie Sanders anymore, who have gone full mask-off Zionists at this point. So he needs an alternative income stream. He needs a safety net. And his way of doing that is making a podcast. So he's trying to leverage his disgusting career as a Washington, D.C. foreign policy genocider to sort of get out of that inorganic sphere where you are propped up by people with lots of money and lots of interest in genociding people in the third world for money. He's trying to get out of that by making a podcast called the Undiplomatic Podcast. And you can see they don't really get many views. This podcast is something that no one...
Whoa. There is zero chance I have more subs than Matt fucking does. You can't allow that. Matt, get the work, bud. Can't allow that, bro. Actually, he probably has more than me. But only slightly. But yeah, the Matt Duss guy, and even Bernie Sanders' actual stated policies, it fits in the realm of before TYT did a kind of a PR change to be more against what mainstream Democrats are going with, or he'd probably fit in with a Vosh, actually, believe it or not. Maybe a little to the left of him, quote unquote to the left, like that type of thing. And that's where, Majority Report, right? He's probably in that area as well. But with the whole Israel-Palestine thing, it's gone so far that you can't give any tacit support for what their government is doing, not even a little bit. Because everyone's aware of what's happening now. Not everyone, but a lot of people are aware. So you can't even I don't know, like the AOC Iron Dome vote. That'll never be looked at as a good thing, considering what they're doing. It just is what it is. But on the actual people in politics, yeah, they'll still get jobs, most likely, right? I wouldn't be surprised if AOC ran, someone like that was hired for foreign policy. Or if Bernie ran again, which I doubt, but if he did, there's your person. There. And it's just oh, it looks better than George W. Bush, so maybe we support this. But all right, let's keep going here. Here we go.
Cares about, and they immediately uploaded the Hasan Piker Talk highlights to their podcast channel. It's the best thing that's ever happened to them. They got fucking Hasan Piker, this big streamer, big up-and-coming, soon-to-be mainstream media personality onto their podcast. And they're ecstatic. They are so happy about this. It's the best thing that ever could have happened to their podcast.
What? I wonder if BadEmpanada explains why he was on. Why did that come together? on Hasan's podcast or Twitter channel, or sorry, Twitch channel or whatever. Like, how'd that come about? I'd be curious to know, like, why the fuck did that happen in the first place? There's a lot of, like, when I did the Dave DeCamp, Matthew Cockrell video, like, that Matthew Cockrell guy, or even Dave DeCamp himself, those are guys I'd want to hear from, like, honestly, because they're information guys, right? And they're going to provide a lot, like, probably a lot of shit your audience would have never heard of before. And there's a lot of shit that I didn't know that this guy was saying. I'm like, wow, this is fucking informative. And I mean, from beginning to end, it was like an hour long. Very informative. So maybe Hasan has platform guys like that, but I think you should give it a shot if you want to talk about, like, this issue in particular, about Israel, Gaza in particular. Guys like that are fucking like very valuable, I think, for just for the information I'm saying. So, but yeah, I wonder how he got why Matt Duss? What happened? Did he ask to be on? Did you invite him on? Did you plan on questioning him about his past takes, but maybe he froze up at the last second? Like, I leave room for everyone to be like, yeah, there could be a whole bunch of different explanations, but you know, I'm still curious. But all right, here we go.
It already has like 10 times more views than they usually get. So this is just irresponsible from Hasan Piker here. He did not challenge this guy. This was not an adversarial interview. It's not inviting someone on to rightfully
Did the same with Bernie and
them.
AOC.
It's inviting someone on to promote them. That's what this was. It gets worse with this guy as well.
And he did the same with Bernie and AOC, right? Kind of like a pillow interview. Here we go.
By the way, I haven't even shown you what I think is the worst thing, which is not this. This is pretty bad, though. Like, I was just looking through his tweets for anything on Israel, and he's like, this is a tweet from August 2024, in which he said, I know folks who previously served in the IDF who I'd be thrilled to have in the White House. This is someone who Hasan Piker invited onto his stream to give him a nice little boost. Here is Matt Duss going on Democracy Now!, arguing against the ceasefire in Gaza and justifying Bernie Sanders' anti-ceasefire position. Hasan Piker's latest interviewee, folks.
Matt, you worked for
ceasefire?
Senator Sanders. She pushed him on a ceasefire. He said he was for a pause, but wouldn't go so far as a ceasefire. Your thoughts?
No, I think the senator has been one of the strongest voices for a cessation of violence, for stopping the bombing. These are the words he used in his speech on the floor of the Senate a couple weeks ago. He has been one of the strongest voices in the country.
I want to be clear as you listen to this. Remember that this is someone who Hasan Piker chose to help with his entry into the alternative media sphere. This guy is looking for an exit ramp from his career justifying Zionist atrocities, and Hasan Piker helped him with that. He's realizing that the palatability of what he offers these Democratic Party genociders is going down. He's not going to have his job forever. And his like podcast sort of thing is a way to give himself an off-ramp from this career, which isn't going to be viable forever. And here he is fucking advocating against the fucking ceasefire of all things.
And let me add, Bernie's policies on Israel, like for people that say it looks good, I think they're saying that because of the relative aspect. Like, compared to other people, he looks better. Or even just compared to the Democratic Party, he looks like Bernie has the better answer. He's a good guy. Like, no, not necessarily. That's not a great answer, actually. Especially like being against a ceasefire that Hamas was asking for, like day fucking 1 or 2 after October 7th, all right? And then we have all these other recent ceasefires where, like, just recently, Hamas said, yeah, we're in. We're down with the ceasefire. We're down with finding a way to whittle this down and end all the conflict, or end the military conflict. But, I mean, it's a genocide, but yeah, Israel's probably not going to go for that. Which means the U.S. is probably not going to go for that either. Let's just be honest. They want to wipe them out. Wipe them out or expel them. All right, here we go.
And here he is fucking advocating against the fucking ceasefire of all things.
Raising the issue of the Palestinians who are dying, and even before October 7th, he was one of the strongest voices pressing the U.S. government to address the humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
This is liberal Zionism par excellence. I can't fucking believe that you could platform this without calling it out.
So,
Once again, compared to others, yeah, sure, Bernie looks like a genius, doesn't he? But no. I mean, fuck, I had an idea, I forgot it. Fuck! Hear it again. Maybe I'll get it. Well, maybe I'll catch it.
the U.S. government to address the humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
This is liberal Zionism par excellence. I can't fucking believe that you could platform this without calling it out.
So I understand there are some of my colleagues on the left who've been pushing for, to use the word ceasefire. I get that. I think what the senator said there about...
Okay, I remember my point. It's about genocide. Like, it's actually an important thing when Bernie says he won't say... Or Bernie Sanders not saying the word genocide. He said he doesn't do that because it's a lawful term. And I think a lot of people that are looking at this topic are like, but Bernie, it is a crime. You're afraid to call a crime a crime? That's why people are calling it a genocide. Because they want it in criminal terms where lawmakers like yourself can actually do something about it. Because you classify it as a crime. Especially you with, like, remember this year he did like a tour and shit? Him and AOC did a tour and you're getting fucking, all these fucking people are showing up. Lots of people, meaning you have influence. So when you call it a crime, Bernie, it actually does something. Like, fucking hell, man. Like, yeah, it does belong in the category of criminal genocide. It is clear as day. They are purposely killing innocent civilians. On purpose. It's pretty blatant, too. But, all right, let's go back to this. Here we go.
Not calling it out.
So I understand there are some of my colleagues on the left who've been pushing for, to use the word ceasefire. I get that. I think what the senator said there about the challenges of a ceasefire being negotiated with an organization like Hamas are valid. Where my focus is, and I think...
Amazing. Okay. In an interview, Matt Duss leveraged his supposed Ukrainian-American identity to say that Israel has the right and responsibility to defend its people. He also goes on fucking Bill Maher. This happened in June 2024. This fucker went on Bill Maher, and as Bill Maher did like blood libel, genocide propaganda, painting all Palestinians as pedophiles, this guy sat there smirking and nodding. I want you to know that. I want you to know this is who Hasan Piker decided to platform and boost. And I want to say to Matt Duss, if you're watching this, I hope you are, my friend, you're never going to be allowed to have a career outside of what you're doing. We're never going to let you in. If you ever try, we will be there. Not just me, but also others. Don't even fucking try. Don't even try. Just stick to doing what you know. Justifying genocide for Zionism. Do...
Hey, man, you can come over here. Yo, Matt Duss, you want to join the Yellow Brick Road, man? Come on over, bro. You're invited. Everyone's invited. Free party here. But, I can't stop what I might say or what others might say. And it's like, but stick around. Like, don't run if you get pushed or challenged or questioned about things. But you're always welcome. I'm not as harsh, I guess, as BadEmpanada. You can come through here. It's just, it might be a little bumpy of a ride for you, though. Anyways, here we go.
A hard right to...
Wait, do you play Apex, Mad Duss? Play Call of Duty, bro? All right, here we go.
And become a Republican advisor or some shit. Those are your realistic options, not this. We're not going to let you do it.
People of Gaza, by the way, if the Israelis did get rid of Hamas, they'd be doing a giant favor to the people of Gaza who hate Hamas still.
He's nodding along with that, by the way. This is him on the left, this Vosh thing. He's a lot worse than the real Vosh, by the way. I think advocating for the genocide of the Palestinian people in Gaza, as he did, in a very official role as well, is worse than consuming drawn child porn, as Vosh did. Unequivocally. He's worse. This Vosh lookalike is worse than the actual Vosh.
I mean, that horse porn is kind of crazy, though, man. That anime horse porn. It's just kind of crazy, though, bro. I don't know. And Vosh is like a pathological liar to me, also. I really believe that. This guy might be a full-blown psychopath for all I know. But I don't know. But yeah, Bill Maher Mayor, Bill Maher's. Yeah, his takes are always going to be kindergarten level. Below kindergarten. Elementary fucking takes. All right? Simple one-line statements that show no nuance, no context, no empathy. Empty fucking rhetoric. And the crowd mentally, because of the conditioning of being Bill Maher fucking fans, they know exactly when to start clapping. I'm not even sure what these fools in the crowd actually believe. They just know it's time to clap now because he said a one-liner, it got quiet. All right, let's clap. Just made no fucking point there. Here we go.
But let's just go through the lists. Because the Israelis look like us in most ways, value.
The Israelis look like us. Oh my
The
fucking
fuck
God. He's
does
sitting
that
next to
mean?
this guy as he says this.
Values-wise. Maybe we're not doing it the right way. I don't know. Religious tolerance. That doesn't exist in Gaza. You're either Muslim or an infidel, and you better be a Muslim.
That's not true. We already saw, didn't even, the Zionists of Zionists, Mike Huckabee, Christian Zionists of Christian Zionists, didn't this guy complain, well, hey, guys, can you leave the Christians alone there? Don't just bomb the churches. Wasn't the Pope making phone calls to Gaza with some of the churches there? Isn't there, I'm pretty sure there's a video of a Jewish woman where she was blocking IDF soldiers from painting over a Palestinian flag that was spray painted on a wall. Or maybe it was hand painted, whatever. It was painted on the wall. And the IDF soldiers were all right, we're going to fucking paint over this. And she was standing in the way. A Jewish woman. Now, are there large-scale Jewish and Christian populations there? No, but they are there. They are allowed to exist there. I don't know, that point makes no fucking sense. It's basically the same argument of how are you gay people supporting what's happening in Gaza or supporting Palestinians? How are you doing that? They throw gays off of rooftops. The stereotypical statement that's said 10 billion times over. It's just lazy. Here we go.
Thank God this guy who just sits there, as he said, and nods along to it, was platformed by Hassan Piker and given an opportunity to rebrand. Now the genocide is too obvious and the tides are turning against his previous positions. Something that, I will note, Hasan recently went on Noah's stream and watched one of my videos warning against. Literally a week before he did this, he watched a video that I made saying, don't let these people do this, and he's letting this guy do it.
Female freedom.
Now, for me, I leave room for people to be able to change. I do. I don't just throw anyone away. That's why Matt Duss is always welcome here. That's just as a human being, you're always welcome. So, once again, I'm not as harsh as this guy, but I understand, but I just full scale just disagree with it. But he should follow his own thing. My thing is, I don't throw anyone away, and I leave room for the possibility that people can change. Now, do I think that Matt Duss changed in this situation? If I had to guess, based on my experience of that stuff, I'm probably going to agree with BadEmpanada on that one, where it smells more like rebranding than it does wholehearted, I had an epiphany about the world, change. But if someone does that, yeah, come on over, man. All good. That's a good thing. It's a good thing to change for the better. But, all right, here we go.
That I made saying, don't let these people do this, and he's letting this guy do it.
Female freedom, free and fair elections, free speech, gay rights. Can I just finish my list of pedophilia? I'll put that under don't ask. Child brides and so forth. Equality of the sexes, I'll categorize that under don't make me fucking laugh. The fact that, these people think that this is where they should be aligned with, that these are the values that you support?
Not about their fucking values. They're blowing people up, you idiot. Fuck. And, here's the thing. I think Bill Maher fucking knows that. And he's just a full of shit liar. Let's just be honest. It's not a stand up for Muslims. I'm sure maybe some people are like that, but for the majority of it, it's like there's a blatant crime happening, and we're all watching it on our fucking smartphones, and no one's doing anything about it.
Both sides are pedophiles,
Idiot.
So it ain't about that.
Your volume's dumb low. I didn't even hear what you said.
Both sides are pedophiles. It ain't nothing about that.
Both sides are pedophiles?
Yeah, Israel or Jews and Muslims, they're both pedophiles.
Yeah, rocks for brains. Yeah, we should call your brain the holy of holies. 10,000 holes in that motherfucker.
Both religions support pedophilia.
You could put traffic through that bitch. So many fucking holes. Anyways, yeah, and yeah, I think Bill Maher's lying about this shit. I don't watch this guy. Like, I used to watch him back in the day and thought he was stupid back then. Thought his takes were hilariously stupid, but I could already assume what his takes would be. Talking about Bill Maher, and it's like, yeah, I expect some full of shit fucking thing. I remember when Sam Harris was marching around there, and fucking, oh yeah, the true problem in the world is jihadism. Like, it's like, meanwhile, like, America's committing massive amount of crimes. Israel's committing massive amount of crimes, but we need to make sure that Israel is known as the only democracy in the Middle East. Like, that's what these guys were selling decades ago. But why would I expect something like, once again, why would I expect something different from this guy? But all right, let's continue. Here we go.
I love Matt Duss. I'm glad that this is the guy who Hasan Piker.
I wonder if he's going to show the Hasan portion.
Giving an out from his soulless consulting career in Washington D.C. This is the guy who is giving an out into like building a potential audience in the alternative media space by getting platformed by, no exaggeration, probably the biggest streamer who could, the biggest guy who could give you a shout out in this space. Because what this guy is doing.
The problem with doing real reactions, like no prep work, just hit play and watch, is that I don't know if he even plays the fucking Hasan Matt Duss discussion. That's what I thought he was gonna have in here. I was just curious about his take because I heard another take of his and somewhere else. But if he doesn't play it, I'll find something and I'll play it. All right, here we go.
Is just a rebranding. It's a rebranding. He sees the tides turning when he helped this happen in the first place. He helped legitimize it, and he's trying to save himself. We can't let that happen. This guy spent, the first 30 years of his life, at least, pro-Israel, Zionist. October 7th happens, he justifies the genocide, he attacks, Palestinian resistance for it, he spreads blood libel, mass rape, stuff like that. And then 2 years later, he sees the tide turning, he's like, oh no, this is actually really bad. Zionism is bad. Shock, horror, time to break with the DC establishment or whatever. And you just let him do that, and you're like, oh, come on, but he's changed or whatever. We don't have an obligation to let these people keep having fucking media careers. We don't have an obligation to let them keep being talking heads that we have to listen to. Like, you advocate for Zionism for 30 years and you spend like the first 2 years of a genocide justifying it. If you're truly repentant for that, go work in fucking McDonald's like a normal person. Get the job application going. Go work in the mines to provide restitution. Go help rebuilding Gaza as a manual laborer. This idea that we need to forgive people because they came around late or whatever, and what forgive means in these cases is like, let them have a career as like a fucking political commentator or whatever still. No. If you want to be forgiven, first thing that needs to happen is that
you acknowledge
everything that you've ever done and do something else with your life. This is not.
We're actually kind of similar with takes here. I wouldn't say go work at McDonald's. I'd say go back to kindergarten and learn basic ethics. But the first things first is to admit to every little fuck up you've done that you can at least remember. Point them all out. Seriously. If you want some sense of redemption for all this stuff, yeah, do that and then quit. Quit your job. Go back to kindergarten of ethics. Learn how to not double dip your fucking celery or carrot sticks. Right? Because you might spread germs that way, right? Right, little Johnny? Oh, of course, Miss Teacher. That's what he needs to go learn. Basic fucking ethics. Of like, damn, I might cause harm to you by trying to be greedy for myself. Fuck. So, we're almost in the same area. And BadEmpanada. All right, here. What kind of fucking name is that, anyways? You like eat a shitty BadEmpanada. He's like, damn. Starts like he got food poisoning or something. And he's like, you know what? I should start a YouTube channel. Is that what happened? All right, here we go.
Not someone who should ever be given forgiveness. You can't just reward this stuff. You can't let these people rebrand and let them get away with what they did, because they'll do it again next time. So they watch my video.
Oh man, you gotta look around, BadEmpanada. That is happening left, right, all over the fucking place. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, apparently this Matt Duss guy, like a lot of people are rebranding. Cenk Uygur, Anna Kasparian, rebranding. Maybe not on this topic, but in general, they're rebranding. And it's like, there's no repercussions for being like full of shit for so long, or being that wrong. Like that, like dismally fucking wrong. Like there's no recourse for that. Or no, comeuppance, if you will. No humble pie. They just say something different another day, and fans are like, yeah, they got it. All right. And they got there because of us. They feel happy about it, and they start giving them more views, more money, more thumbs up, whatever the fuck. It's just a weird phenomenon, and honestly, BadEmpanada, I think you should be looking at the audience more so than the content creators. Look at the audiences. I mean, you want to talk about dumb fuckery? There's a lot of dumb fuckery floating around here. Let's just keep it honest. There's a lot of fans of these content creators instead of like critical thinkers that like what the person's saying. There's a lot of like fans where they buy their t-shirts and send them money so that they say their name on stream. Like that happens, man. Right? That's a phenomenon that exists. All right? And I'm not saying that's all negative. Like it's okay to like someone, but I want to give you some money, and oh, it's so cool he said my name. I understand the sensation or the phenomenon of that. But they may not realize that they could get abused with all of that. Where they're being used, and then once you're useless, they might throw you in the fucking trash can. I've seen it happen a bunch of times. A bunch of times. But, all right, here we go.
Where I was talking about how these people are going to try to rebrand. And then Hasan invites someone on who is actively attempting to do a rebrand right now.
Career. And I think with a lot of these people that are going to change their mind and try to reposition, we got to remember, we got to keep a very close record of what they said while it was happening and not let them do that. They'll try, but there should be a continuous effort to say, no.
Hasan agreed.
On October 10th, you started justifying what Israel is doing. You started weaponizing your identity to run cover for Israel and blame everything Israel's doing on Hamas, which is exactly what Israel's doing.
Or college protesters.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what you were focused on during this.
I think the only way that these grifters...
I wonder if this guy's the squirrel guy. I wonder if they're the same person. He's using kind of the same content, but... All right, here we go.
Exactly. Like, that's what you were focused on during this.
I think the only way that these grifters can ever do something that is redeemable is if they detail and identify exactly how they were paid.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good way. You know, we need to get that out of this guy here. We need to get Matt Duss to detail exactly how and why he was paid, but he hasn't done
that. I don't know if he was paid. I want him to like give the real answer. Leave room for them to say anything. It could be paid, it could be ideology, it could be brainwashing. There could be a whole fucking trunkload of fucking possible reasons why Matt Duss was saying the things that Matt Duss was saying. I say leave room, guys, and let's hear him out. If it smells like bullshit, say, hey, yo, Matt, you lying to us? Why does that smell like bullshit? Explain yourself. And if he has the balls to stick around, maybe he answers that. That's all I'm saying. All right, here we go.
Here, we need to get Matt Duss to detail.
Or maybe
exactly
he got paid. That's also a possibility.
But he hasn't done that, so I don't know why you invited him onto your stream. He could blow the lid off all of this shit by telling us who paid him to spread genocide propaganda. As far as I'm aware, he's not even Jewish, so he doesn't even have like the ethnic solidarity thing to go with. Who paid him? I want to know. That's a good question. Why didn't you ask him that, Hasan? There's also Hasan Parker saying that Zionists should not even be allowed to be the local dog catcher. I mean, you've all seen that clip, right? But apparently they're fit to be invited onto his stream, I guess. There is certainly merit to inviting people like this on, but for a confrontational debate where you confront them and use them as vectors to show that, for example, the mass rape hoax is precisely that. And like that Zionism was always precisely what it is now, and that they assisted in allowing what is happening now to happen. So fuck them for trying to wash their hands of it now. You know, I noticed that Israel is bad now. Previously I supported it, but I noticed that it's bad now. I didn't notice, I didn't notice with the Great March of Return. I didn't notice with the 2014 bombings that killed like 2,000 people. I didn't notice with Operation Cast Lead. I didn't notice with the Nakba. I didn't notice with anything else. Now I'm finally noticing, now that the tide is turning to a massive degree and people like me aren't going to have a job anymore soon. Finally, I'm noticing, what a coincidence that once it's potentially going to hit my bottom line. Now I'm noticing that. And
that's a fair point. I mean, there was already, and I was saying this before, like there was already massacres and shit happening in Gaza and the West Banks and the West Bank. But it was like more so in pockets. Now, to me, if 10 people die in one incident, that's a fucking massacre to me. But that's just my standards for all this stuff, right? If 50 people get killed protesting, and they're in fucking people in wheelchairs and doctors and nurses, and they just get open fired on, I call that a fucking massacre. And it's fair to point out that Matt Duss, like, yo, where the fuck were you, man? Where the fuck were you? And our greatest hope in the government is Bernie fucking Sanders, and you were his foreign policy advisor, and you weren't on top of this? Maybe someone can make an excuse for Bernie, like, oh, he has all these other policies he's focused on. What the fuck is Matt Duss's excuse? I don't think Bernie has an excuse either, to be honest with you. But what the fuck is Matt Duss's excuse? Your job is to be on foreign policy, and you have dumb fucks like me and BadEmpanada on the fucking internet outflanking you? Are you serious, man? It's your fucking job to do that. I'm wrecked. Like, nothing else sums it up better than that. It's like, yo, this is your shit, right? You went to school for this. You get paid for this. You fucking got these foreign policy jobs, foreign policy advisor jobs, and you don't know shit about the foreign policy? Just dog shit takes on Syria, on Ukraine, on Israel, Gaza. Like, bad takes. And what happens? Ukraine and Russia in all-out fucking war. Al-Qaeda taking the lead in fucking Syria as the leadership. And a massacre, as far as our lifetimes are concerned, massacre of massacres happening. Mass-scale massacres. How are you on the wrong side of all those things? How does that happen? It's like, either you're dumb as rocks and incompetent, you shouldn't have that job, or you're part of the corruption that leads to these things. You're a good team player. Ridiculous, but all right, here we go.
This is how Hasan ends his talk with his new best friend.
I may come back to this video he's showing right now and then play some more of it. Just to add more context to like how their conversation actually went, how Matt Duss answered questions, and I guess the way Hasan asked questions maybe, or his responses to it, or rebuttals. All right, here we go.
And Matt Duss, genocidal Zionist, mass rape, 40 beheaded babies guy.
Yeah. Well, Matt Duss, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Hasan's editor, for plugging him so that everyone can go and follow him. And thank you for revealing to us that you follow him yourself as well.
This was a wonderful and enlightening conversation.
Or his editor, right? It could be his editors that put that in there, and they just to be fair and honest here. All right, here we go.
Thank you, Hasan's editor, for plugging him so that everyone can go and follow him. And thank you for revealing to us that you follow him yourself as well.
He did say editor.
This was a wonderful and enlightening conversation.
What were you enlightened by, Hasan? What were you enlightened by? I'd love to know.
I hope I didn't press you too hard.
on
No,
some
not
of
at all.
these things.
No, not at all.
And yeah, I hope to have you back on the broadcast soon.
All right,
All right.
anytime.
Hope to have him back on soon. No different to inviting Ethan Klein onto your broadcast. So let's talk about why this is happening. There is an enlightening clip that basically summarizes the entire thesis of manufacturing consent, which I will use to sum it up here.
Is a censoring organization. Tell me how that works. You're not suggesting that proprietors phone one another up, or that many journalists get their copies spiked, as we say?
It's actually Orwell, you may recall, has an essay called Literary Censorship in England, which was supposed to be the introduction to Animal Farm, except that it never appeared, in which he points out, look, I'm writing about a totalitarian society, but in free democratic England, it's not all that different. And then he says unpopular ideas can be silenced without any force. And then he gives a two-sentence response, which is not very profound, but captures it. He says two reasons. First, the press is owned by wealthy men who have every interest in not having certain things appear. But second, the whole educational system, from the beginning on through, just gets you to understand that there are certain things you just don't say. Well, spelling these things out, that's perfectly correct. I mean, it's the first sentence is what we expand on.
This is what I don't get, because it suggests that, I mean, I'm a joke, people like me are self-censoring.
No, not self-censoring. There's a filtering system that starts in kindergarten, goes all the way through, and it's not doesn't work 100%, but it's pretty effective. It selects for obedience and subordination, and especially I think that
so stroppy people won't make it to
there'll
positions
be
of influence.
Behavior problems, or if you read applications to a graduate school, you see that people will tell you he's not doesn't get along too well with his colleagues. You know how to interpret those things.
I'm just interested.
That's interesting, because the social and psychological phenomenon of that. I have thought of this idea, just internally, personally. I've seen plenty of Noam Chomsky things and lectures and all that stuff, but I have not. Did I watch Manufacturing Consent? Like the little documentary thing they did? I definitely haven't seen this interview, but that is something I have actually thought of particular social archetypes, like the way the school system works. Those particular types of archetypes are the ones that just flow through, because, and it's not to say that everyone's a bad person or they're a shitty social archetype or a shitty psychological archetype. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it does seem to lean in favor of more of the input-output types, right? Now most people, not everyone, but I think most people, they do their input-output style of education, right? Here's a question, give me the answer, right? If you draw outside the lines, you'll get, it's a bad grade or something, right? Most people, once they get to a profession after that, they just relax and be themselves, right? They just do their thing, right? They don't stay inside the lines. But there's a special few of dweeby little fuck-faced dick riders that fucking, they're like teacher's fucking pet type of person. Sits in the front row, asks for extra homework and shit. You know what I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about, bro. Locker dwellers. Those guys are the ones that end up in political shit. Seriously, it seems that way. Or these heads of businesses where they're kind of unempathetic or very apathetic towards the rest of the population because they view themselves so highly. Or, they get a job at whatever, some firm or Wall Street or something like that, and they're just, because of the atmosphere that they're working in, almost like the educational world, the standard education world, them just following orders and following rules is just second nature, and it's easy to do for them. Meanwhile, other people might get depressed a bit, or say "fuck this job," or they might flip the boss off behind his back. You're right. They might break out and be human for a little bit. But that's very interesting to hear Noam Chomsky say that. I've actually had that. That's why I use the term dweeb with some of these guys out there. You little unthinking little fuck-faced dweeb, locker-dwelling little fuckface. That's why I say those things. And I think there's a case to be made for it on a psychological level. Like, there are certain individuals that seem to behave this way. And it's very, very, very worthy of exploration. Right? It's something where you should probably step outside of politics and, like, examine those ideas, like, really go through them. Because it could be very, no pun intended, educational. All right, here we go. Let's keep playing more of this.
Is because I was brought up, like a lot of people, probably post-Watergate film and so on, to believe that journalism was a crusading craft and that there were a lot of disputatious, stroppy, difficult people in journalism. And I have to say, I think I know...
They wouldn't lie. Why not? It's the New York Times. They can't lie. Remember Rogan said that? Now that's him looking up to other quote-unquote smart people. These people are not smart. Being an unquestioning fucking dupe is not intelligence. I'm sorry. Being an input-output machine for your whole fucking life is not. That's not intelligence. Probably like a good memory or something, but it's not actual intelligence where you can take different things and mold it into some new creation that you came up with. That's what's required. But if you just walk the fucking line all the time, you're not, yeah, that's not intelligence on any level. All right, here we go.
Some of them.
Well, I know some of the best and best-known investigative reporters in the United States. I won't mention names, but whose attitude toward the media is much more cynical than mine. In fact, they regard the media as a sham, and they know and they consciously talk about how they try to play it like a violin. If they see a little opening, they'll try to squeeze something in that ordinarily wouldn't make it through. And it's perfectly true that the majority, I'm sure you're speaking for the majority of journalists who are trained, have it driven into their heads that this is a crusading profession, adversarial, we stand up against power, a very self-serving view. On the other hand, in my opinion, I hate to make a value judgment, but the better journalists, and in fact the ones who are often regarded as the best journalists, have quite a different picture, and I think a very realistic one.
How can you know that I'm self-censoring? How can you know that
you're
journalists
self-censoring? I'm sure you believe everything you're saying, but what I'm saying is if you believe something different, you wouldn't be sitting where you're sitting.
Especially that last quip. I want you to think about that and apply it to Hasan Piker. I want you to think about how this might explain why Hasan Piker has only been getting more and more mainstream media penetration, why he's getting profiled more and more, and whether there is an incentive for him to, quote-unquote, self-censor or to even regulate his own genuinely held beliefs in which they give him reasons to do so. Like, he's learning right now. He doesn't go too far on certain issues, or he at least tries to direct people to certain purported solutions, like Democratic Party entryism, for example, which he loves. Look at his support for Zoran right now, which in 5 years isn't going to age very well, mark my fucking words.
Yeah. I mean, imagine there's fans of Hasan, and then you see him being a fanboy for someone else. It's just like, for me at least, disheartening when this should be like, there's no time for fandom. There's no time for applause even. It should be like critical thinking, because lives are actually on the fucking line. They really are. There's no room for pleasantries here. Hey, this may sound mean, but I gotta ask you this question, man. Sorry. It is what it is. It's a worthy question, according to my calculations. That's fair. But here we go.
Provided that he keeps within those sorts of limits, they will give him these sorts of rewards. That is mainstream media penetration, more celebrity, potentially money, more fame, blah, blah, blah. In the same way that, if you're a journalist who spreads like the imperialist neoliberal status quo narrative, you have like every incentive to keep doing that, and they select you not because they're telling you what to say, but because you say what they already wanted you to say. This applies to everyone. You can apply it to Chomsky himself. Ask the question of why was Chomsky, despite supposedly being an anti-system radical, such a mainstream media mainstay for such a long time? There has to be something there, right? With Hasan, it's even more.
Doesn't have to be.
Hasan is becoming more and more and more incentivized by the attention that he's getting from the mainstream media to self-regulate. It's similar to...
Now, these things don't have to be there. I'm not going to say that, but should they be should the question be asked? Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. If I made $1 billion tomorrow and all of a sudden, you know, YellBro grows filthy rich, I got 8 chains on, all solid gold with diamonds in them and shit like that. Like, yeah, someone should ask a question. Yeah, I think you should. It doesn't have to be full-blown accusing someone of something, like off rip, but a question should be asked. And if it hits the ear of the person you're asking questions about, they should answer the fucking question. Unless they're a pussy. But, all right. I was going to turn this video off and then go to the Hasan Matt Dusk thing, but he's making interesting points, so I'm going to keep listening. There we go.
Training a dog. We're all animals, we're all beasts. If you train Hasan
I'm a savage.
Believe that as long as he keeps advocating for, say, Democratic Party entryism or whatever it is that's making them comfortable enough to do this with him, he gets these interviews, he gets profiled in the NYT and GQ or whatever, he will self-regulate so that he gets more of these profiles, more of this mainstream media penetration. Eventually, you know, he's going to make some debate appearances on CNN or something. It's going to go further and further and further. If you think he or you...
Well, I wonder if he's saying he's conditioned or if it's like a slow corruption type of thing, a slow drip corruption or maybe he's already corrupt in the first place. I wonder where he's going with that exactly. But here we go.
On CNN or something, it's going to go further and further and further. If you think he or you are immune to this stuff, you're totally and completely wrong. We're watching...
I'm immune to this stuff. And no, I'm totally and completely correct. I am immune to that stuff. Here we go.
Someone's
got to do it. I'll
be groomed by the mainstream media in real time. This is just the beginning of it. He might not even be noticing it, though I have to wonder how it's even possible, why you are suddenly like getting increasing mainstream media attention and they're normalizing you and stuff like that. You know, that would make me wonder whether what I'm doing is in some way useful to them or whether they have like aspirations for me that I perhaps am not that conscious of. You know, it starts the same in every way. You know, I'm sure Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez actually thought that she was a crusader out to break the Democratic Party norms regarding foreign policy and stuff like that in the beginning. Look where she is now. You know, I'm sure.
No, I don't think she had it in the first place. See, a lot of these guys, from either like content creation media to even being a political figure, right? Being in politics, being in the House or the Senate or president or whatever the fuck. A lot of these guys are unmade before they get there. And what I mean by that is they're not their things aren't cemented. Their principles are not actually cemented. Thus, someone can walk by and just fucking move things around willy-nilly. And all of a sudden, you're supporting an Iron Dome out of nowhere. When if you actually thought about it, it makes no sense to do that if you're trying to stop whatever genocide thing is happening, right? But if you build yourself before you enter these arenas, you're not learning on the fly. That's the point, I think, is to be built already. Be that motherfucker already. Here's my principles. These will never, ever, ever get crossed. Obviously, you can... some sense of evolving, right? Well, like if you feel the need to evolve, do it before you enter a political office of power. Figure that shit out already. You start scrambling at the last second, that means you weren't supposed to be here in the first place. You should probably walk away. All right, I got in over my head, I gotta leave. Right? Recommend Black Swan. I recommend that movie. No, if you know, you know. All right, here we go.
All the journalists who got subsumed by the system started out thinking that they were going to join the New York Times and be heterodox and really challenge power, and look where they are now. And I'm sure Hasan Piker genuinely thinks that he's doing what's right for anti-Zionism or whatever. But then look where he's going to be in 5 years. Do you think he's more likely to be like trying to lead people to a burgeoning third party that is finally making, say, this is, obviously hypothetical, this probably isn't going to happen, you're Americans, you don't do shit, but like a burgeoning third party that's actually making inroads? Or do you think he's going to be supporting the next iteration of AOC Zoran? I think he's going to be doing the second one. And I think he's going to be doing that after many more profiles, not just profiles anymore. They'll let him write an opinion piece. They'll bring him on to CNN every now and again. That sort of thing. He's being...
Now, I will say there's a difference between principles and then just your own, like, strategical, the political ideas you support because you think they work the best, right? You make an efficiency argument, as in, like, this thing is the most efficient way to get the good thing done, right? Now, people can be wrong about those things, right? That's with anyone, right? Like, as far as assessments of certain things, people can be wrong about things, for sure. But if you say, I'm against killing innocent people, and then you go support a guy that we all know will probably kill innocent people, there's no excuse for that one. No excuse for it. Just saying. You can get tricked by people, sure. Like, right, there's people that lie on planet Earth. There could be a guy who's like, oh my God, I'm so hurt. Please help me out, please. And you're like, fuck, I'm going to try to do the right thing and try to help him. And then he pulls a gun out. Bitch, empty your pockets. Oh, you got tricked. You didn't lose your principles. That's one of the main differences I try to bring up in regards to politics. Maybe I make this a part 1, part 2. I might do, like, because I like the ideas that BadEmpanada is actually going through. I don't agree with everything, but I like the ideas he's going through. Maybe I do this one this way, and then I just do like a reaction to some of the Matt Duss, Hasan Piker interview questions. I think that's what I'll do. Because right now, I don't think he's going to play video at all. But yeah, I might do a part 1, part 2. But he's saying interesting ideas. I want to hear more. Here we go. Once again, I don't know this guy, honestly. So, all right, here we go.
Groomed, and that is why he's, whether he realizes it or not, that is why he's inviting someone like Matt Duss onto his stream. Because inviting like a DC foreign policy guy, Zionist no less, is what you do when you are in the mainstream, when you're trying to curry favor with the mainstream. This is the sort of guy who goes on CNN all the time to like, rationalize Bernie Sanders' foreign policy positions from a regressive sounding lens. Makes perfect sense that someone who is being
and democracy
groomed
now
for a role that serves the status quo would talk to someone like that. Hasan.
And I just want to add in Democracy Now, who have fallen from grace. I remember enjoying their like when I first got into politics and I knew nothing about anything. I was an idiot. I used to watch Democracy Now all the fucking time. That was like decades ago, but I was like, oh, maybe not plural decades, maybe like a decade and a half or something. But either way, it's like, oh, I'm starting to learn politics. This is interesting. Oh, there's fucking all these problems happening in the world. Oh, shit. But what I've heard about them now is like they've completely just fallen all the way off. And it's like, ugh. Maybe for strategy, maybe for money. I don't fucking know. I didn't look too hard into it, honestly. But yeah, which would be like the safer, you kind of maintain your credentials as like, oh, you're like a legit lefty person because you're still allowed on Democracy Now, right? Versus like trying to maintain credibility by going on CNN. Yeah. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Can realize this now before it's too late, or he can let it happen. I mean, there's plenty of personal benefit to him for this happening. Why wouldn't he let it happen? He'll make a ton of money from it. He'll get really famous. He'll get invited to the fucking Oscars eventually. Why wouldn't he? He's going to be highly incentivized.
I mean, he's already got a multi-million-dollar house.
Or to at least maintain the role that he already serves rather than to challenge it. He's gonna take the incentives. Get angry at me all you want for pointing out what is really fucking obvious to anyone who understands what's going on here at all. Like anyone with a basic understanding of like materialism, historical materialism, like the basic thesis of manufacturing consent, a book from 40 years ago that like every 14-year-old has read. Like every 14-year-old interested in politics, at least. This is very...
Yeah, I've never read it. And I fucking hate politics. But here I am anyways. I think there's something that I think BadEmpanada was actually going after, like that's underneath the surface of politics, which is psychology and sociology and all those like other disciplines. That's why I talk about politics. Like I'm just watching people move around, basically. But yeah. I'm not going to say I fully agree with Chomsky's idea, but it is I think an interesting idea and worth heavy consideration. Here we go.
Obvious stuff, and I think that some people would even contest it is very worrying, just because it's like their favorite streamer who we're talking about here. You know, he can realize what's happening here, or you can just like keep letting them train him like a dog by giving him incentives to act the way they want him to act. Thus far, he has like danced with that tune to a T. So yeah, I don't really expect much here. It's going to be Democratic Party entryism until the end of time. It's going to be vote for the latest new Democrat guy who's totally different to all the other Democrats, who 5 years later is just going to be exactly like all the other Democrats over and over and over again, to prevent potential anti-systemic energy from really forming into like a critical mass that could potentially do something different. Or he can surprise me and everyone else by ceasing to allow them to use him. Whatever it is that he wants. Go ahead, Hasan. Make my day by not doing it anymore. I don't think he will, though. And his fans will be fucking so angry at this video. They're going to call this drama. They're going to do everything possible except actually deal with the substance of what I'm saying. Just because people follow him.
Welcome to YouTube,
and it's
man.
not just him, it's everyone else. But people follow YouTube personalities. You know, the same way they follow like mainstream musical personalities, like Taylor Swift, for example. Hasan is the Taylor Swift to a significantly less amount of people that Taylor Swift is a Taylor Swift to, but he is nonetheless to them like their obsession. And it makes them really uncomfortable to see him criticized in a way that is really uncontestable and just correct. To be clear, I am actually not incentivized to shit on Hasan Piker. For me, like the financial, celebrity, fame, reputational incentive is for me to align with Hasan Piker on everything and to like leech off him. But I don't do that even though it hurts me, because I guess I'm a moron. And I think that as humans, I mean, Israel has been trying to disprove this a lot recently, but I think that as humans, we are generally smarter than like just following the incentive structures like dogs. And I think we can go above that and do better. So I try to,
Agreed.
Which is why I don't follow the incentive structures, because if I wanted to, I would be like sucking Hasan off to the point that he invites me onto his stream regularly, which, to be clear, Hasan does not even have direct contact with me. It's always for a third party, because like he really doesn't want to have to talk to me directly. I think I would probably ruin his brain and he'd block me in 2 seconds. Like Hasan.
I'm wondering, are you the squirrel guy? Is he the squirrel guy on Twitter? Because I don't know. I don't know who these fuckers are, bro. Curious. But, yeah, you know, like, the point is that, you know, I'm not going to take you as, like, oh, I believe you, or, no, well, I'm not going to go with the idea, okay, I believe, oh, you're a good guy, or you're a bad guy. I'm not going to do that with you or anyone else. It's more of, guessing and asking questions and shit like that based on all your different, you know, faculties, psychological faculties that you have access to, right? Versus like physical evidence versus contemplation or intuition or these things. So you don't need to, like, for me at least, you don't need to, well, see, look, I have no incentives. I don't think I need to hear that personally. All right, here we go.
No way it says like, if I wanted to make money, I'd be doing the right-wing grift. That's bullshit. He has a niche that he is a part of now that he is largely dominant in. He would not make more money by leaving that niche. The right-wing media space is overflowing. There's way less opportunity there. There is a lot of room for someone like him, especially given that he still remains within the bounds, not just of what's allowed or what's considered, you know, acceptable to the mainstream Democratic Party, but also Twitch. You know, the fact that he doesn't move to YouTube is very telling. He cares more about like maintaining his his Twitch platform and perhaps the money that it makes for him than he does about, say, multi-streaming to YouTube, which doesn't have any rules against multi-streaming. And YouTube is a much bigger audience as well. So there's something going on behind the scenes there. Not just a much bigger audience, but has much laxer rules. You can say way more on YouTube. You can say Zionists on YouTube. I have to ask questions about what's going on there as well. There's incentive structures that everyone, has to abide by. Like I have.
Yeah. Well, it seems like because he's doing assessments here, trying to showcase evidence of where he's going with his assessment of Hasan, and my idea of it or experience of it is that, like, when it comes to politics, it seems like Twitch is a lot more top heavy, as in they're getting a lot of views, but it's in a fewer hands, if that makes sense, versus YouTube, where it feels more so, not saying it's guaranteed or like even that true, but like it seems like you could be a random and actually get some viewership talking about whatever topic, versus Twitch, where it's like, I think it's just like, if some sort of topic goes down, they're already watching Hasan's channel or Asmongold's channel or one of these fucking like influencer, like borderline like frat boy party guys type of shit, type of like political takes and stuff like that. Like, bro, it's like that Gaza stuff. It's like bad, right? Versus like YouTube, it feels like there's like you'll have like a historical version of the topic. You'll also have the frat boy influencer style of topic. You'll have the hardcore political guys perspective. You'll have my shit where it's just like hit record and say whatever the fuck you want type shit. Just say weird shit. Just say crazy shit. There's a lot more flavors. It's a lot more spread out, if you will. Versus, instead of like looking for politics, you look for Hasan and then you hear some politics. Or you look for Asmongold and then you hear some politics. Versus YouTube, where you can more so search for topics and you'll find people who are talking about the topic. Once again, not saying it's perfect by any means. It seems a little bit rigged in plenty of cases. Not even saying me, I'm saying like just what I've seen from others. But it's definitely a lot less top heavy. But all right, here we go.
Rules. You can say way more on YouTube. You can say Zionists on YouTube. I have to ask questions about what's going on there as well. There's incentive structures that everyone, has to abide by. Like I have incentive structures to not, for example, violate the YouTube terms of service because I'd get kicked off the platform. No more money. But they are nonetheless way more permissible than Twitch's. So you have to ask the question, why does he remain on Twitch? YouTube gets way more viewers, especially for politics. Why the fuck is he on a gaming platform? It's incomprehensible. Just another
he corners the fucking market over there.
Will Hasan realize what's going on here, or will he not care? I don't know. He's just going to ignore this video. He's going to ignore that I ever talked about this. He's going to call me crazy or whatever. As long as he gets to do a bathtub photo shoot for GQ, I think he cares way more about that than any of his espoused politics. He may care about them at least a bit, genuinely, but not enough to really think about what is going on with like these mainstream media outlets suddenly being very interested in him. He's very much incentivized not to ask questions about that and what they might indicate regarding his overall stance.
Yeah. I mean, does part of me get like a little bit weirded out with what the fuck? Destiny is a pedophile. Christ. Why is his hair blue? Did he dye his hair blue or something? Listen, Destiny looked like the saddest guy on planet Earth. I did see something about, like, I guess his kid exposed him as a pedophile or something. Or, like, was he, like, sex messaging, sexting, right? Whatever it's called, with, like, a 17-year-old, I think, is the idea I saw out there. I didn't look through it. I didn't investigate it. I just saw something about it. And I always said, like, Destiny, like, looks in the mirror every day and says, fuck you. He hates himself, dude. Fuck my life. So I don't even know if that's real legit or not, honestly. But whatever. Yeah. I think I had a point and forgot it because I saw Destiny's fucking blue hair. Fuck! Shit. It's all real here, guys. No edits. No nothing. I just hit record and talk some shit. But all right. So I'll probably do a part 2 to this and just watch maybe not all of Matt Duss and Hasan Piker's thing, but definitely portions of it. And with this video, the BadEmpanada guy, I think it's some interesting takes. Very interesting. Get his face on screen. I like that he didn't, although I think maybe our at the core assessment is probably different, but a lot of political people don't even bother to dig into things like psychology and like conditioning and why people behave the way they behave. All right, especially in politics, man. It's just like so blatant of like, yo, like he says it in the end of his video, right? Like, oh, Hasan's fucking fanboys and fangirls are gonna show up in my video and try to shit on me because they love Hasan so much, and they get hysterical that he's being fucking criticized. And it's like, yeah, that's a phenomenon that I think political people should be like giving a lot more attention to. So I'm glad he gave that a look. Obviously, I don't know all of this guy's content. I don't know all of his shit, but I find it interesting. He dove into those topics. But all right, once again, this is probably a part 1. There should be a part 2. We'll do that reaction. But this part's over. Please subscribe if you feel like. Comment. Agree, disagree. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Do you agree with BadEmpanada? Obviously, you're probably going to have to go watch the Matt Duss Hasan Piker video first. I'm doing this backwards because I thought he was going to play more clips of that interview, which is fine. That doesn't bother me. I can pull that off. Pause. But yeah, what do you think about BadEmpanada, Hasan Piker, Matt Duss? Matt Duss has always been a little bit sus to me as far as his takes. And when I first heard of the guy, it was when Bernie was running for the second time, and I looked up this guy's foreign policy because foreign policy is like a big deal to me, right, in politics, because if you get in office and you can't stop yourself from killing innocent people, I don't know what to fucking tell you. Like, you're worthless then. You can't be supported at that point. For me. Right? And when I started looking more into the Matt Duss guy and his takes, I'm like, oh, Bernie's. I already knew Bernie had a bad foreign policy, but I left room for the idea that maybe an advisor could help him out with his dog shit foreign policy. Or let's be honest, it's more like a mediocre foreign policy. Looks good compared to, Hillary Clinton's foreign policy or Joe Biden or Kamala Harris's foreign policy, but it's still a bad foreign policy. It really is. And that's why I looked into the Matt Duss guy, and it's not good looking. Hasan, I've always been a little bit on the skeptical side of like, is this guy full of shit? I leave room for it. I consider it. And then when he has people like AOC or Bernie Sanders right in front of him to talk to ask these questions, to give these takes, he doesn't do it when he's right in front of them. He was like, oh man, that sucks. That was weird. That was lackluster. But maybe criticize him on Twitter or something. And it's like, well, not as many people are going to see that versus you actually sitting down and talking to them, live streaming it, right? So, my skepticism towards Hasan has always been out there. And then this guy, I don't know him too well, but the ideas are interesting. But you tell me in the comment section. I just rambled the fuck out of that one, didn't I? Whatever. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Do not forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links you see in the description box. Check them out, read them, share them, then donate. All of it is very much appreciated. Also, check out the Discord link if you want to join that and talk some shit. No dick pics, though. No dick pics or graphic violence, please. And, of course, with all that said, give this video a thumbs down.
Say you wanna get in.